Toronto Blue Jays are positioning for a massive trade. Following what has been a pretty exciting offseason thus far for the Jays, a new report has dropped once again, this time surrounding the Jays' pursuit of a lefty reliever that is not only a perfect fit for the team, but is absolutely electric to watch. To break down this report and discuss what it means going forward, as well as a rumor that has dropped surrounding this player that involves a rumored trade, including Davis Schneider heading the other way. Fan favorite, of course. We'll break that down as well as discuss a signing that happened across the AL East that has implications on the Jays, and a note surrounding Buck Martinez's retirement and some rumblings and rumors about who his replacement will be. There's a lot of information, tons of things that go, reports, everything on this episode, folks. You're going to want to stay tuned to the very end of the video. But before we get into it all, you guys have been absolute beasts of support, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. Hopefully you all are going to enjoy it. My team's not in it, but if your team is in it, hopefully you're all going to enjoy it, spending time with your friends, family, all those different things. Happy Sunday. Let's dive right into the video today. There is a report that has dropped surrounding a player that I've made videos on before, but following a recent move that happened, you can see here, lefty JoJo Romero of the Cardinals is reportedly highly likely to be traded at the deadline, what am I saying? At some point this offseason. And Bloom, if he chooses to, can deal from the organization. It's talking about another potential team going in. The important thing here, lefty reliever JoJo Romero and Lars Nootbaar are both being shopped for the Cardinals, and the Jays are involved. Now, this is something that Mitch Bannon has reported in the past, over the past couple of weeks, that the Jays are checking in on some guys. Of course, there was interest in Framber Valdez. They signed Tyler Rogers. But the Cardinals are clearly in a fire sale. Alec Burleson, he's been made available as well. I had a video on him. Of course, they traded Brendan Donovan. And following that trade, it is clear now that they are willing to move off of JoJo Romero. And that opens up a golden opportunity for the Jays. You even see here from Cardinals territory, it's pretty obvious it's a rebuild, and Lance Lynn expects Lars Nootbaar and JoJo Romero to be traded now that the Cardinals are in full rebuild mode. So that kind of sets the stage here. And then a new rumor and article has dropped proposing a swap of JoJo Romero for Davis Schneider. Cardinals president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, is on the record as looking for a right-handed outfielder bat. Now, again, here you can see Chaim Bloom, if he chooses to, can deal from the organizational surplus of catchers to address the needs elsewhere. We don't need to worry about that part of it. But we can talk about the fact that it is true. The Cardinals have been looking for an outfielder. Now, they did, of course, move off of Brendan Donovan. With a lack of good options in free agency, a recent writer proposes the Blue Jays and Cardinals link up and trade Davis Schneider for JoJo Romero. And it is an interesting one. For me, I'm doing it in a heartbeat. The Cardinals, they might want somebody with a little more MLB experience, perhaps. Or at least, Davis has a fair amount of MLB experience. I should say a higher MLB floor. But you can see here, in a trade for Schneider, would likely need to give up more than just Romero, which I disagree with. But at the same time, you look at, Davis Schneider's stats, but you look at JoJo Romero's stats, he's been a very good reliever for a very long time. Now, you would be selling, if you're the Cardinals, high on JoJo, right? a 2.07 ERA. The Cardinals talking about, the article's talking about Davis Schneider as if he's some hero here and how he's in his insane year. He is coming off a pretty good year. I want to make it very clear. This article here, I'm using it as a talking point. I think the Jays would have to give up a little more than Davis Schneider to get JoJo Romero. The article talks about how the Cardinals might have to give up more because it could be a fluke year for JoJo and things like that. Again, it is what it is. Something to note, though, is that it is a rental for JoJo Romero. This is his last year of his contract, so maybe that's why. Davis Schneider, 797 OPS. The Jays have a surplus of outfielders. And if you can get a lefty reliever to slide into your bullpen immediately for Davis Schneider, I'm doing that in a heartbeat. Maybe you guys might feel differently. Some people are higher on Davis Schneider. I think it would probably cost Davis Schneider plus a lower end prospect like RJ Schreck or Victor Arias. You're not trading any of your top guys for a reliever who's at the a rental reliever in the sense of he's not going to be under contract after this year. But this is the type of move that I'm talking about where it makes so much sense because the Jays have a surplus of outfielders. Schneider's not going to get a ton of playing time. Now, the one area he could is at second base if they decide to go ahead and keep what they have right now, which is Ernie Clement starting most of the games at second base. I love the deal, and I'm curious to see what you guys think about it. Again, JoJo has a 5-pitch mix. He's a lefty. He's 29 years old. Doesn't throw super hard. Super fun to watch. He's actually a ground ball pitcher, which the one negative would be you get 2 relievers this offseason, neither of which strike out a ton of guys, neither of which throw hard at all. They both kind of rely on deception. I'm doing it, right? I'm just doing it. At the end of the day, I would do that swap heads up or straight up, I don't know if I'd include like a great prospect. I don't think I would even include RJ Schreck because he's going to have a really good year, to be honest with you. I don't think I would. Maybe one of the top, from 10 to 20 or something like that if it has to, be done. But at the same time here, I like the proposition and dealing from depth to get your bullpen, which already is pretty solid, right? Like I always mentioned, Hoffman, Garcia, Rogers, Verlin. Outside of that, it's a bit iffy. Like, what are you going to get from Brendan Little? What are you going to get from Braden Fisher? Eric Lauer could factor into some starts, depending on what they do with the starting rotation. Mason Flaherty, Yariel Rodriguez. So many question marks. I want them to get one more good reliever. JoJo's not the electric reliever in the velocity sense, but getting a lefty that you can pencil in would be crucial because they don't have any elite lefties. Like the starting rotation, no southpaw guys. Maybe Eric Lauer if he factors in. The bullpen, no lefties outside of Brendan Little and Mason Flaherty, who, again, were fantastic, and maybe Eric Lauer in the long relief role. They were fantastic last year at times. I want to get a surefire lefty, and they don't come around often. Give me JoJo Romero. I've been super high on him for a while. I think this would actually be a bit of a finesse here, but also a little bit of a gamble because you're setting yourself up for a 2.07 ERA. Great, but then, of course, after this year. But relievers are so volatile that it's not like getting a reliever with a 3 or 4 year deal is guaranteed guaranteed to be elite. It's a sure thing anyway. So I'd go ahead and do it. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on all of this. A few other things to go over, though. Now, Buck Martinez, quickly, I don't have a screenshot for it. He obviously retired. Congratulations to him. There's some rumblings that Joe Siddall will be the best fit in the booth to kind of go full-time. I want you guys to leave in the comment section right now. Out of everybody that could potentially be heading into the booth next year for the Jays to go alongside, luckily, Dan Shulman, who do you guys want to see in there? We've seen, some Matt Devlin in the past decade. He's not going to be the guy. I like Joe Siddall a lot. I think he's probably the best replacement, the next man up. He's really developed as a color commentator. He's really developed as a guy who makes a lot of sense for, he's a really good analyst, right? Caleb Joseph, that's another guy. I think Joe's a little bit more polished, but let me know down below what your thoughts are on that. A couple other things to go over here. There's been some rumblings across the MLB about Isaac Paredes, and Isaac Paredes, 5 legitimate suitors right now for Paredes. So are the Jays one of those guys, someone who crushes lefties? I don't think so because the defensive versatility is interesting. But the Red Sox and Pirates are confirmed, suitors for Paredes. So, Isaac is a very interesting name here because moves continue to go around, like rumors continue to fly across the MLB. And at this point in time, it's at the point in the offseason where Hazel May is officially reporting to, I think she flew to Florida, Dunedin now, reporting for spring training. We're going to start to see pitchers and catchers report soon. We're going to start to see all these different things. Some moves are probably, like if they're going to get made, they're going to get made fairly soon here. As we saw yesterday, the Yankees signed Paul Goldschmidt to a 1 year, I believe, $4 million deal. Obviously, the Jays haven't played the Yankees a ton. Doesn't scare me in the slightest. I think he's a little bit washed, a little bit older, but it is what it is. Keep an eye out for an Isaac Paredes trade. It could happen very, very soon across the MLB. I don't think the Jays are going to be interested, so I have videos about JoJo Romero. But let me know down below what your thoughts are, folks. Hopefully news is going to get a little more juicy soon as we approach spring training. I'll have multiple videos covering prospects, people to watch, all these different things. So bear with me. You guys are absolute pieces.
Sometimes the most dangerous moves aren't the loud ones. They're the ones that creep up on you late on a Sunday afternoon and refuse to leave your head. That's exactly what this latest report did to me, because it paints a picture of the Toronto Blue Jays quietly positioning themselves for something bold, calculated, and just a little bit ruthless. The name at the center of it all is JoJo Romero, a left-handed reliever who doesn't overwhelm you with radar gun readings, but somehow keeps leaving hitters shaking their heads. He's electric in that frustrating way, all angles and deception, the kind of pitcher who turns big moments into uncomfortable silences. And with the Cardinals clearly pivoting towards a teardown, this suddenly feels like a door cracking open at exactly the right time. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because the rumor doing the rounds involves Davis Schneider heading the other way, a fan favorite, a cult hero. And yes, I can already hear the sharp intake of breath, but this is where front offices earn their paychecks. Schneider is valuable, no doubt, but he's also part of a surplus. Romero fills a need this bullpen simply cannot fake its way through for another season. I won't pretend it's painless. Trades like this are emotional, especially when the player leaving feels like one of ours. But if you're serious about winning, sometimes you have to trade comfort for certainty. I'd make that call, even if it stings for a moment. Elsewhere, the division keeps shifting, and across the noise there's a quieter note worth pausing for. Buck Martinez stepping away from the booth marks the end of an era, and whoever follows has enormous shoes to fill. That voice shaped generations of Jays baseball. This is why the Blue Jays report exists, to sit in the gray areas between emotion and logic. If you enjoy that perspective, take a second to like, share, and subscribe. Because if this Romero story turns real, we'll remember exactly when it stopped being a rumor and started feeling inevitable.